Hello again, Math 8 class. We're ready here now for our second lesson today, which is on lesson 10.4. This is about 3D shapes. Now, I sent in an email some worksheets that look like this. So they're called nets of different shapes. I hope that you printed them out. So I'm going to talk about those now. Okay? I printed them on color paper because that's a whole lot more fun and interesting. So, but you don't have to. Plain white is just fine. So I want to talk about each shape first before we take notes. The first shape I'm going to talk about is the square-based pyramid. If you cut it out, it looks like this on the net, and when you fold it all up and tape it together, it looks like this shape. Now let's talk about this first. We know it's a pyramid because all of our triangles come up to the top. And we know it's a square pyramid because there is a square base. All right, so when we want to find the surface area of this, looking at the shape opened up will help us to do that. So if I look at here, this is this shape opened up but attached on the bottom. I can see what areas I need. So if I'm looking just at this, I've got 4 triangles that are all the same, and I have the base. So what I want to do is I want to find the area of one triangle, multiply it by 4, and then add it to the base. So if you're just looking at this, what you need to do becomes really obvious. Okay, let's look at another one. How about this is a triangular prism. It's triangular because the bases are triangles, and it's a prism because there's 2 bases, one on the top and one on the bottom, and they're connected by rectangles all the way around. Now if I look at the net of this shape, it looks like this, and I can see what I need. These are just tabs, they're not part of the shape. They help us to tape it together. I'm just going to flatten that right now. Okay, so when I'm looking here, I'm going to have 2 triangles that are the same. So when I'm trying to find the surface area, I'm going to have 2 of those triangles. And then I'm going to have 3 rectangles. 1, 2, 3. They're not all the same size. If you look here, you see that 2 of them are the same. 1 here and 1 here. And then the bottom one is a different rectangle. So you have to be careful and check your side lengths. You could even do them all individually to make sure you do it correctly. But basically I'm going to have 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. All right, so this one here is a rectangular based prism. I've got 2 rectangles. They look like squares, but we call them rectangles, on the bottom and the top. And then I have 4 rectangular sides. If I open that up, it looks like this one. So I've got 2 bases that are the same, and then I have 4 rectangles. Now again, these can be different. They might not all be the same. So you want to check that depending on the sides. Opening it up like this can help you see what you need to do. 2 bases that are the same and 4 rectangles in the middle. Okay, now the hardest one is the cylinder. For a cylinder, looks like a can, doesn't it? I've got 2 circles that are the bases, and then I have this shape that's wrapped up around my bases. Now if you open that up, you will see that you have the 2 circles and that you've got a rectangle here. And how long are those sides? Well, this is the interesting part. If you take your circle and you have to wrap this around like this, it's actually the length of that rectangle is, this is hard to hold, here I'll hold this one. The length of that rectangle is the circumference of the circle all the way around. So you would need to find that. not only will you need the area of the circle, you're going to need the circumference of the circle. And you use that to find this length here, and you multiply it by the height of your cylinder. So we did these shapes because they're fun, but also cutting them out and looking at them visually shows you what you need to do. Now, with these videos online, I can't have a lecture that's the same length as the class day because it just takes too long. I had a geometry lecture I went to upload, and it took overnight to upload onto YouTube. So everything has to be a little shorter. I will do a couple of examples for you, but you'll have to look in the book for more and perhaps use Mathway, the app that I suggested, in order to get some help with some of the other problems. All right, so let's take some notes. My son is going to move the camera. The dogs are going to provide background music now and then with a little barking alerting us that someone's probably dropping off a test and coming to the front door. And we'll get started taking notes. So take out a piece of paper. If you're not ready, then go ahead and pause this. I'm going to do 2 examples for you. So this is lesson 10.4. And there's my phone. I'm not going to answer it though, because you're more important right now. Okay, so let's see. Oh, there's some definitions. I don't want to take the time to write them down, but I do want you to have them in your notes. So I'm going to leave space. So in your book, I want you to copy down the definition of prism, pyramid, cylinder, and cone. So go ahead and you can pause the video now if you would like to get those out of your book. That's totally fine. And look at the shapes of things in your book. And in the meantime, we're going to start to find surface area. So find the surface area. Okay, so here's my picture. Not an artist. Do that again. Okay, and then I use dots in the back to show the 3D part of the shape. And this is 15, and this is 30, and this is also 15 down here. Okay, so I like to write an overall plan. To find the surface area of this rectangular prism, I'm going to have surface area equals 2 rectangles. So those would be the 2 in the front here, front and back. They're the same. Okay, plus 2 of the side rectangles. So that would be over here and over here. So now I have 4 sides. And then I would have 2 more that are the same, the top and the bottom. I hope you can see that. If you're looking at the rectangular prism, it has 6 sides, and each pair of opposite sides are the same. Okay, so now that I find is the easiest way to keep track, to make sure I have all 6 sides and I don't repeat anything. And it's a great way to show your work. You kind of have the big picture plan, and then we write down all the details underneath. So my surface area, I'm going to do the 2 on let's do the top and bottom. So here I have, I'm going to erase these arrows. So I have the bottom. One side is 30, the other side is 15. So I'm going to have 2 rectangles, the top and the bottom, that are 30 times 15. Okay, so I've done the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to erase these other lines also. I'm going to have the two sides. If this side is 15, then this side right here is 15. It's easier to see that way. So if I want this rectangle on the side, that's going to be 15 times 15. Not a very accurate drawing. It's okay, I'm not an artist. We already established that though. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 times 15 times 15. So that's the top and bottom. These are the sides. Now I'm going to do front and back. So I'm looking here, and I have the front is going to be 30 times 15, and so will the back. So I've got 2 times 30 by 15. Now, I can look at this, it has a lot of numbers, but I can see I've got 1, 2, 3 sets of sides. I have everything. And this is the work I want to see on your paper. So the easiest thing for me to multiply is 30 times 15. That's 450. 15 times 15 is 225. And again, I have 30 times 15. Okay, so I have 2 times 450 is 900. 2 times 225 is 450, and again 900. So then when I add it all together, I get 2,250. Oh, we didn't write down what units we have. Let's call them meters. So this would be meters squared. Okay, the second one I'm going to do with you is a cylinder. So here's my cylinder. I'm going to draw a picture over here. I'm going to make that dotted in the back. And I'm told this is 10.7, the height there. And now I want you to watch this. It's very critical. Really pay attention right now. I am writing the 8 above the center of the circle. That means the 8 refers to the whole diameter. If I have a picture like this, and the 8 is over just the radius, half the circle, then the 8 refers to the radius. When it's in the middle, it refers to the diameter. Okay, so my diameter is 8 then. Okay, so let's find the surface area. First, I'm going to write down what that means. To find the surface area of a cylinder, I'm going to have, looking at my cylinder, I've got 2 circles, the top and the bottom, and I have 1 rectangle that goes in the middle, that unwraps. So that is what I have to do to find the surface area. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the surface area of the circle. That formula is pi r squared. So I need my radius. Because the diameter is 8, the radius is half of that, which is 4. So I'm going to put in 4 squared, and that is 16 pi. Now, I would accept that as an answer, 16 pi, but in the book they usually have it in decimals. So I'm going to let you use your calculator to write that down. Figure that out. Now don't use 3.14 for pi, but don't use the calculator too much, and make sure you show your work so that I can correct it. Okay, so we have this part here. That's the first part. That is the surface area of 1 circle. Now I'm going to find what's in between. Remember, the base here is going to be 2 pi r, which is my circumference formula all the way around of the circle. Remember that? 2 pi r. Okay, so to find the area of the rectangle, that's going to be area equals length times width. And so first I have to find the 2 pi r. And again, I already know my radius is 4. So that's 8 pi. And 8 pi is 25.2. 12. All right, so to find the length and width, I'm going to have 10.7 times 25.2. Remember up here, the length of this rectangle is going to be 10.7, and then the distance around is the 25.12. And when I multiply those together, I get 268.78. Okay, so let's go back to my plan. Surface area is 2 circles plus 1 rectangle. So I'm going to have 2 of these at 50.24, and I'm going to have 1 rectangle, which was 268.78. And when I work that out, I get 100.4 plus 268.78, which is 369.45. Oh, and I need to write my units down. Let's call this feet squared and call this a very big cylinder of feet there. Okay, I am going to let you do one on your own, and you can pause the video and we'll come back with the answer. So the one I want you to do is the surface area of the cylinder, and here's my picture. I'll let you catch up. The radius here is 10, and the height is 40, and we'll call that inches this time. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video. I'll just give you a minute. I'm going to keep going, so you can pause it yourself and then turn it back on when you're ready. Okay, so to do this problem, I'm going to have my plan, which is the surface area is 2 circles plus 1 long rectangle. So the circle is pi r squared, that's my area formula. And I put 10 in for the radius, and to work that out, I get 314 inches squared. Alright, so my rectangle is going to be 2 pi r here times the height, which was 40. So let's work out 2 pi r. 2 pi, and the radius was 10. So that becomes 20 pi, and I work that out, and that's 62.8 inches squared. Now, the area of this rectangle is going to be 40 times 62.8, which is 2,512. Okay, so we go back. My surface area is 2 circles plus 1 rectangle, and I'm going to have 2 times 314 plus 2512, and I get 628 plus 2512, and my surface area ends up being 3,140 feet inches square. Okay, well that concludes our lesson, and I hope that helps you. So here we go. The homework is going to be page 545 to 547. Whoops, I didn't write that correctly. And that is number 3 through 7 odds, 15 through 19 odds, 25, 29, and 33. Okay, well, good luck with that. If you have any problems, please ask your family or friends if they can't help you. Then try Mathway, the app on your phone or your parents' phone, I hope. And if you're still stuck, we'll talk about options for tutoring later on. It'll either be Thursday or Friday. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye now.